Hello everyone and welcome back to Agent Nagash, which is a channel dedicated to Age of Sigmar. Now in this video we're going to look at the army of the Dispossessed, and this is going to be the first video, so of course we're going to be looking at its allegiance abilities. So first off we're going to look at its battle traits. So to start with we've got the Stubborn to the End, and what this does is if you roll a 1, 2 or 3 before modifiers are applied when taking a battleshock test for a friendly Dispossessed unit, that unit is treated as having passed the battleshock test irrespective of any modifiers to the battleshock test or their bravery characteristics. So firstly, this is really quite good. I mean, I've never personally played Dispossessed myself, or Dwarfy or fantasy player. However, my friend does have a big Dispossessed army, and when I play against it, I've managed to just send basically my hammer units at it, just like crack a massive unit of dwarves wide open. So when it comes to the battleshock test, I'm expecting them all to run away. However, he rolls a 1, 2 or 3, which is half the dice result. Essentially it's 50-50, and they're still there, they're still surviving, they're still holding that objective, because the hammer unit I charged of them was a very elite unit, let's just say a unit of Morghast, so they're easily going to be outnumbered, and he still has the objective. So yes, that is a good battle trait. Even if, like I say, let's say you got like a unit of, I don't know what, 20, you've lost 15, which would normally mean that your unit's going to run away for sure, unless you Inspiring Presence it or something. And what the enemy attacked you with was a unit of 4 of models of some sort of variation. And what that means is that actually, let's say it's the end of your turn, you've still got 5 models on that objective, whilst the enemy's only got 4, so you're still going to control it. Yeah, sure, your unit of 5 is not going to do anything else in the next turn, but it's still going to give you the much needed points for that objective. So that is the first one. Then the next one is a Grudge Bound, and this is something that is the main part of the Dispossessed. This is what happens, why people sort of take the army. It's a nice sort of flavours them from the lore, which we discussed in the last video, and they're really bringing it into the game. So what it says is, after setup is complete but before the battle begins, choose or roll for a grudge from the table on the right. The rule for the grudge applies to all friendly Dispossessed units for the duration of the battle. And the reason why I'm going to say this is good, firstly, is because it's after setup is complete. So this means if you're planning on taking these guys to a tournament, sure, I'm going to say straight away they're not the most competitive army. I'm sure you guys know that. However, if you take them to a tournament, you're fighting against lots of different armies, you don't know what army you're going to fight. It means you can really adjust your sort of army-wide ability depending on what army you're fighting on, and we'll look into that a bit more detail when we look at the grudges now. So the grudges. So the first one is Stuck Up. You can re-roll hit rolls of 1 for friendly Dispossessed units if the target of the attack is an enemy hero. Okay, so this is going to be good if you're playing against a army that really sort of relies on its heroes, like a Khorne, Bloodbound, Blades of Khorne sort of army, or a Flesh Eater Court army, something like that. It's going to be quite useful for you to try and take out the enemy heroes. So it's good for that. Then the next one is Speed Merchant. So you can reroll hit rolls of 1 for friendly Dispossessed units if the target of the attack has a move characteristic of 10+. Okay, so most armies don't have a movement characteristic of a 10+, army wide. However, there are armies out there. There's armies like Sinesh. A lot of them have high movement. One of my personal favourite armies that I have is my Flare army. They're all, I think, bar a couple of courtiers and so on, literally has a movement of 12 inches. So it will apply to all of this. And when I played against my friend, he's used this one against me, and it works really well killing my flares. So that's good. And like I say, it's movement of 10 or more, so quite hard. However, like I said, there's a few armies out there, and like I said, you're picking this when you see what your enemy's army is. So you go, right, okay, they've got good movement, I'm going to use this one. Rather than you going, oh, I'm going to take this just in case they have good movement, and it turns out they don't. No, you get to pick it when you see the army, so that's all good. And then number 3, it says it's called a Monstrous Cheaters. So you can reroll hit rolls of 1 for friendly Dispossessed units if the target of the attack is an enemy monster. So again, depending on the army you're fighting, if you're fighting against a all infantry based army that doesn't really have any monsters in it, I mean like Fire Slayers without any Magma Giraffes, Daughters of Cain without any monsters, those sorts of armies, just maxed out hordes, it's not going to be a very good one. However, if you're fighting against Beast Core Raiders, I think probably the perfect example here, so many of their heroes are on monsters. It's fantastic. And also not just their heroes, but they also have the Beast Riders, so the more generic monster guys that I believe can be battle line. So yeah, if you're playing against an army like that, it's going to be really good. Also things like some Flesh Eater Court armies, some people run around with like 2 big monsters in it, or even like 4 And that's not just Fleshy, of course, there are other armies that do it. So if you're going against one of those armies, like I said, you can see the army before you pick this. It's going to be really, really useful. Right, and then moving on to number 4, which says Cowardly Heroes. You can reroll hit rolls of 1 for friendly dispossessed units if the target of the attack is an enemy unit that has 20 or more models when it was set up. Okay, so this is very much controversy to the one we just looked at, which is good against monsters. And I said it's not going to be, that one was not very good if you're playing against a horde army. However, this one is perfect if you're playing against a horde army, isn't it? You know, army, if you know, like units of 30 witch elves and beyond. I'm not saying you're going to beat those armies easily, but you know, this will help against it, of course. When if you're playing against, you know, Legions of the Nagash army with loads of big blocks of skeletons or zombies, you know, Nighthaunt with big units of Grimblast Reapers, or you know, Chainblast, you know, Fire Slayers again. This sort of goes on and on and on. So yes, that is a good one for that. And like I say, what I really like about this is that you don't have to pick before you see the enemy's army. You go, oh, you've got a horde army, I'm going to go for this one. It works really nicely and really well. Okay, and then number 5, we've got Shoddy Craftsman. You can reroll hit rolls of 1 for friendly dispossessed units if the target of the attack has a save characteristic of 2, 3 or 4+. So again, this is going to be depending on what army you're fighting on. And you know, against Stormcast army, yeah, fantastic. You're always going to get this basically. So yeah, great. And there are other armies that have, you know, a 4+ save is a good save, and there are quite a few armies that do manage that. So yes, that's going to be quite a good one. You know, depending if you're going like, oh, the enemy doesn't really have good movement, or they don't really have too many heroes, or their movement, like I say, it's not very good. Don't really have too many monsters. They're not really a horde army. They're somewhere in the middle. This could be a good one for that. So that's number 5, Shoddy Craftsmanship. So we move on to the last one, which is number 6, which is Sneaky Ambushes. You can reroll hit rolls of 1 for friendly dispossessed units if the target of the attack is in cover or did not start the battle set up on the battlefield. So this is obviously aimed at the armies that deep strike. So Stormcast, again, deep strike, Deepkin, deep strike, some Daughters of Cain stuff can deep strike. You know, Nighthaunt can do it, Legions of the Nagash can do it, Seraphon can do it, Blades of Corns can do it. You know, Sinesh can do it, Nurgle can do it. There's so many armies now that can summon, where it's pretty much like, I don't know the average, but you know, a decent chunk of all the armies in Age of Sigmar can summon now. So yeah, this could be a good one just for targeting those ones. And like I say, if those sort of armies, if they don't really fit into your other brackets here, for your other grudges, it could be a good one to go for. So looking at all the grudges there, I'm not really going to say what my favourite one is, just because they're all situational for what army you're going against. And when I say like I can't really pick on that basis, I don't mean that in a bad way, I mean that in a good way, because it really is, you know, you can tailor your army-wide ability depending on what army you're going to fight, which I think is really good. And you know, like I said, this says I'm not the most competitive army, of course. However, this makes them a little bit, you know, good in the sense of they might be worth taking to a tournament. I'm sure some people do take them to a tournament, and they've probably done pretty well with the army, in all fairness. And yeah, I think all these grudges are good in their own right. I like the sort of flavour they have with them as well. How, you know, like I say, the first one is like grudges against, you know, stuck-up heroes. The next one's like they hate, you know, armies of speed. Third one's, you know, they hate, you know, monsters. The next one is, you know, they hate cowardly heroes and, you know, shoddy craftsmanship, and then people who aren't straight fighters, they'll sneak onto the battlefield. They have none of that. So I like all the sort of how the fluff is synced into the rules here. I think it's really, really nice. Right then, now moving on to the command traits for Dispossessed. So the first one is Resolute. So friendly dispossessed units wholly within 12 inches of this general pass battle test on the roll of a 1 to 4 rather than only on a 1 to 3, as what was in the stubborn to the end battle trait we saw. So yeah, this is good. Wholly within 12 inches, so quite small, because bear in mind your heroes for your Dispossessed aren't going to be on particularly big bases, shall we say. So yeah, not amazing range, but you know, you could definitely manage to get one unit within that range. So yeah, I think that's alright. I think that's pretty good. Number 2 is Resilient, so add 1 to the General's wound characteristics. Yeah, if you want to keep your General alive, essentially, it could be quite a good one, because obviously, like I say, your Dispossessed heroes aren't the biggest heroes, so they're not going to have the most wounds. And then going on to the third one, which is Siege Master. So do not add 1 to save rolls of enemy units that are in cover if they are attacked by this general or a friendly Dispossessed unit wholly within 12 inches of this general. So I think this is a bit too situational. I mean, it's great if you get it off, you know, and the enemy's basically using cover the whole time. If they're a Sylvaneth player, you know, and they're all in Sylvaneth Wildwoods and all getting pluses to their saves and all that sort of thing, yeah, it could work really well. But I feel like it's a bit too situational. My personal feeling is, and also it depends how much, you know, scenery and stuff you've got on your table, doesn't it? If you're playing on a table of your own house and you don't have too much scenery, as an example, not going to be great. But if you're playing in a place like, I know, Warhammer World, for an example, there is a lot of scenery there, so cover will probably come into it more. So it's really dependent on what sort of table you're playing on and how much you think your enemy's going to rely on cover. I think this one's a bit too situational for my own personal preference. And then going on to number 4, which is Unforgiving. So add 1 to the wound rolls for attacks made by this general if the target is from a unit that has inflicted any wounds on this general. What I will say with this one, I don't think the Dispossessed heroes are the most combat orientated, shall we say. So I don't think this one's particularly good. And if it says, like, you know, if that unit has basically wounded your general, then he gets to add 1 to the wound rolls, your general's not going to have too many wounds. So I think the standard Dispossessed heroes wounds characteristic is a 5 from what I can remember. So you can't take too much damage before he dies. So yeah, I'm not really a massive fan of this. It does mean if he's in combat with something that's probably not going to kill him, and you've got other combats going on, you can elect to attack with him later because you think, well, if he takes a bit of damage, I'm going to get +1 to wound roll, so it might be in my benefit. But I wouldn't take the risk with that, in all honesty. Right, number 5, Battle Fury. So roll a dice after this general completes their attacks in the combat phase, and on the roll of a 6 plus they can fight again. Do not roll again after completing the second set of attacks. I don't like this one, purely on basis, like I said, the Dispossessed aren't the best at combat, for their heroes anyway. So with this one, especially on a 6+ as well, you get to do it, you know, get to pile and attack again, which is amazing. You know, obviously pile and attacking twice. Doesn't matter how, you know, good you are in combat, it's still very good being able to attack twice. However, on a 6+, no, I'm not a fan of that. Right, and then moving on to number 6, which is last but certainly not least, is Grudge Bearer. So once per battle, if your general has not been slain, you can pick a new grudge in your hero phase to replace the original grudge you chose for your army. Right, so firstly, I'm going to say this is my favourite one. And I know I said when I talked about the grudges that you can really pick them to suit the army you're fighting, so why do you really need to change it if you've really tailored it to fight your enemy? However, throughout the game, things change, don't they? So if you're playing against a horde big army and then you take the Cowardly Hordes, which is number 4 in the Grudges, you take that one, and then halfway through the game, let's say you've done really well and you've wiped out most of the enemy hordes to the point where you haven't really got any big units anymore, or any units that start with a unit of 20 or more, etc. So you might go, right, okay, now I've killed those, I actually really need to start focusing on the heroes now, the monsters. So you could go, oh, I'm going to change this, if you know your general's still alive, and go for, if the enemy's got a lot of monsters, you can go for the stuck up one, which was the grudge number 1. So now you're getting those rerolls to hit for, you know, enemy heroes. So pretty good, you know, for your Dispossessed units. And yeah, that's why I really like this one. Like I said, the grudges, essentially they are all just reroll hit rolls of 1 for something, which is not the best, you know, modifier, but certainly it's not the worst. And to be honest, I say it's not the best, but it's a pretty good one. So yes, I do like that, especially if you're going against you know, enemy heroes now, and if you've got the Lookout Sir ability for the enemy hero, then you might want to hit, aren't you, if you're shooting for your Dispossessed, as an example. It doesn't have to be shooting, but as that example, getting those rerolls to 1 could really help you trying to get the dice through to be able to hit them. So yeah, as a quick example there, that's why I like the Grudge Bearer one for the command traits. If I had to pick a second one, I would pick the Resolute, because I like the idea of less battle shock, you know, failure essentially. So yeah, that would be my second one, but I definitely think the Grudge Bearer is my favourite. Right, and then moving on to the artifacts. So the first one is the Heavy Metal Ignite. So you can reroll failed save rolls for the bearer as long as they have not made a move in the same turn. So obviously reroll save rolls is good because reroll failed save rolls. So that's obviously really good. However, you can't move, of course. So if your hero is a very supportive hero and you plan for him basically not really moving once he's deployed, because you know you've got your battle line set up and all that sort of strategy going on, you think this guy's just going to stay here and keep him giving these buffs, then yeah, it could be quite a good one to prevent the enemy from sniping him. And then the next one, which is Ancestral Pickaxe, and I think that this one is very much a favourite for Dispossessed players, and you'll see why once I read it. So it says, once per battle, at the start of your movement phase, you can remove the bearer and up to one other friendly dispossessed units within 3 inches of the bearer from the battlefield. Set them up again at the end of your next movement phase anywhere on the battlefield, wholly within 6 inches of each other and more than 9 inches away from enemy models. Okay, so like I said, this is good because this is basically the only teleportation Dispossessed has, as far as I'm aware, to be able to, you know, do the deep strike and all that sort of thing. So they do have a foot in the door for that. However, the only sort of problem I have with this is, you know, you don't set them up at, you know, they don't teleport that movement phase essentially. You know, it's in the next turn. So it's a bit of a delay. So it's like, if you can really plan ahead and, you know, you have the capability to do that, that's great because you can see where you need them. However, things do change even in the space of a turn. So it's a little bit, I feel like it's a little bit, I don't really want to use the word swingy, but I think I'm going to use that. It's a little bit swingy in situation, like, I say situation, it's like, right, I really need to move there. Okay, well, I'm going to move these 2 units into basically the underground and then see if they need to be there the next turn, because if you're not, if things change, you can set them up somewhere else. So that is a bit of a positive they have compared to the standard deep striking, is that if you have a deep strike somewhere and you think, oh god, I shouldn't have done that, I should have done it there, well, here you've got an extra turn to think about, you know, where you want to put them, I suppose. So there is that. Alright, okay, and then the next one, which is the Teardrop of Grungi. So once per battle at the start of your shooting phase, pick an enemy unit within 6 inches of the bearer. That unit suffers D3 mortal wounds. In addition, if the target is a hero or monster, it must halve its move characteristic in its next movement phase. So a one-shot, basically, well, I used to call Arcane Bolt, but a one-shot D3 mortal wounds per game, it's not bad, you know. It could be everything you need, just a snipe of the enemy hero. Well, I say snipe, I mean you've got a 6-inch range, so not huge, but could be sure, I suppose. And then if it's hero or monster, you half the movement, and I'll say that's great if you know, half the movement of monster, because it means that it's going to make it even harder to try and get to you. However, if it's already within like 6 inches of you, yeah, you're not going to really stop it from charging you too much, shall we say. But yeah, I don't think it's a bad little artifact. And then moving on to number 4, which is Grudge Ruin. So after setup is complete, but before the battle begins, pick an enemy hero. You can re-roll failed hit rolls and wound rolls for the bearer if the target of the attack is the enemy hero you picked. I don't really like this, purely on the basis that I said the Dispossessed, you know, they're not terrible in combat for the heroes, but they're not the best. So trying to make a hero super good in combat, I don't really feel like that's in the Dispossessed best interest. I think you're better focusing on other things, to be honest. Okay, so that's why I'm not really going to talk about that one for long, because I don't really see there's much point to it. There might be a point to it, and if you do think so, of course you can always tell me in the comments. And then number 5, which I think is pronounced Pile Driver Gauntlets. So at the start of the combat phase, you can declare that this bearer will strike the ground instead of attacking. If you do so in that combat phase, subtract 1 from hit rolls for attacks made by enemy models that are within 6 inches of the bearer when they attack. Okay, so this is good, and why I say this is good is very much based on what I just said about the last artifact, saying that Heroes' army aren't, you know, all combat orientated, you know, they do other things. With this, it means that this unit that, well, this hero who has not got a very good combat attack, you know, I don't know, something like 4 attacks, you know, 4s and 4s, no rend 1 damage, is a very generic sort of attack. Instead of him doing that generic attack, he can go, no, I'm going to smash the ground and make you -1 to hit me. And if he's in the middle of everything, and the enemy hasn't really targeted him because they don't really see much point in killing him, fantastic, because the enemy's not really going to focus too much effort on him, and then he gets to the middle and goes boom, and then makes like a lot of the enemy units within 6 inches. It's like I said, you haven't got very big bases here for your army, but you can catch a lot of enemy models within 6 inches, like surprisingly. And yes, it's not 6 inches, you know, for enemy units. Of course, that would be the better thing. However, it's still not too bad for a little hero that wasn't really going to do anything in combat anyway with his attacks. So yeah, that's not a bad one. I don't think it's amazing, or say like it's the best one, but I think it's not a bad one. Right, okay, and then the last one, which is number 6, is Resounding Grumenhorn, and I'm pretty sure that is pronounced wrong, but forgive me for that. So it says, once per battle at the start of your hero phase, the bearer can use this artifact. If they do so, add 2 to the Bravery characteristic of friendly dispossessed units until your next hero phase. So obviously we talked about the stubborn to the end battle trait, which means that, you know, you basically just negate battle shock on a 1, 2, 3, so on a 50-50. So why do you really want to add 2 to your Bravery characteristic if, like, that half your units are never going to do like battle shock tests, if that's how it works out on the average. Not too sure, but I think so. Well, simply because what about the other half that doesn't, you know, automatically pass the battle shock test and are in a lot of trouble? At least if you have +2 bravery, essentially they're losing 2 less models, so you're really going to sort of, over time, it might help you quite a bit. And like, it is only for 1 turn, of course, only like, you know, like 1 battle shock phase. And when I say that, I mean like once per battle, I'll read it again. So once per battle at the start of your hero phase, the bearer can use this artifact. If they do so, add 2 to bravery characteristics of friendly dispossessed units until your next hero phase. So what that does mean is, like I said, when I said it was for only 1 turn, however, you get double turned here. And you know what it's all like when we get double turned. Oh god, I'm going to take loads of damage, especially depending on what army you're fighting. Something can be really nasty. You really want to hold out so you can survive for when it is your turn to be able to hit back at the enemy and get in basically bonus to your bravery for you know, when you do battle shock tests, is really going to help you out with that. And also the other thing here is that it's not just for battle shock tests, it's also going to be to protect you from enemy abilities that target your bravery. So my flare army, as I always say as an example here, my crit flares have an ability that target on your bravery. My terror guys has a really good one that does that. Tomb banshees have ones that do that, and there are other ones and models and units that can, you know, do nasty things to you depending on your bravery. So adding 2 to your bravery makes a big difference. Like I can say with my crit flares, like if your bravery, I can't remember what the dwarfs are. I think it's, we'll have a look in the dwarf army video, don't get me wrong, but I think it's bravery 5 standard. Let's just say it's that. It might be wrong, but let's just say it's bravery 5. Getting +2 to it means that my flares that maybe had a chance of doing mortal wounds to you now have basically no chance of doing mortal wounds to you, and it just negates their shooting attack. So it is good for that, and for that reason, that is why I think the resounding Grummerhorn, and I say that's probably pronounced wrong, I probably butchered that word, however, I think that is why that one's good. Yes, the ancestral pickaxe is good as well. I think that one might be, you know, more tactical, because, you know, just having the ability to be able to teleport something is really good. So yeah, I'd say joint with number 6 and number 2, so the pickaxe and the resounding, and I'm not going to pronounce the second word because I feel like I'm definitely getting that wrong. Okay, so those are the allegiance abilities for the Dispossessed. So firstly, what I will say is, you know, the negatives, so they're not the best we've seen, of course, are they? However, they are very fluffy. They've got loads of lore injected into them, which I really, really like. This really comes through with the Grudges. I think they've done that fantastically, Games Workshop. Really happy they've put that in there. And like I say, it's not, you know, the best, but it's not the worst that we've seen, for sure. There's a few good command traits and a few good artifacts that can really give the, you know, Dispossessed, if not a, you know, tactical advantage over like every army there is out there, but just to give them a bit of a bump up to compete against those armies, which I really think. And I think just the half your units not doing battle shock tests is really, really good, you know, and especially if you want to time it with other, you know, command traits, like we saw the Resolute, to try and make that on a 1 to 4, it even gives you a better chance of avoiding it. Of course, there's like ranges to bear in mind, but, you know, that's good. And I think, purely for me, the allegiance abilities say it all in the Grudges. I think they're really nice. Yeah, they're not the most amazing abilities, you know, reroll ones to hit, like I said, but that's not a bad ability. And I just think that really is where the lore just sinks through into the rules. And like the lore that we talked about in the last video with the Great Book of Grudges, I think it's really nice to see that represented in Age of Sigmar rules as well as it was in Fantasy. Okay guys, so that was the allegiance abilities. So the next video is obviously going to be moving on to the units of the Dispossessed, so I very much look forward to that. As like I say, I'm quite new to the Dwarves and Dispossessed, so it'd be good to explore them. And yeah, that's it guys. So I really hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, please like, subscribe and comment down below. And tell me, if you are a Dispossessed player, tell me your tactics or that sort of thing, you think about getting into them. Let me know, and it'd be great to have a discussion about it. So, like I say guys, I thank you very much for watching this video. And until next time, remember, Nagash is all, and all is one in Nagash.